Okay, here we are. There was a few technical difficulties, but we made it
Made it.
through.
We made it in the
Um,
end.
Sorry about being a bit late, everybody. There was a time zone daylight savings change, and I didn't realize until about 10 minutes ago. So, um, anyway, we're here now, and we've
Hmm.
got a special episode with me, just me and mum. And we did this same topic a little while ago, which is our 2 cents on recent world events. And um, I think it was about almost a year ago that maybe
Hmm.
even more, that we did this last episode. And the world was very different. And I feel like there's this new wave at the moment of craziness happening. Um, and yeah, I wanted to talk about it. So yeah, I guess Mum, you were mentioning how you don't really know anything that's going on in the world, really much of it anyway.
I know a couple of events through just through talking to people, but I choose not to follow world events because um I'm at the moment in my life I'm working on my nervous system
Mm,
because of personal reasons that have happened in my life to make me feel a lot really unbalanced. And so I stay away from things that are, you know, things that could potentially rock my peace, take my peace away from me.
so maybe this isn't a good episode.
No, it's fine because no, I understand why we're doing it. And the fact that we're doing it for a purpose
Mm,
to talk about this stuff and why I don't watch the news, why I don't delve into world events and things like that. I think it's really important to put it out there as an example of, um, you know, choosing to choosing the way you want to live your life, choosing the way
yeah.
you want to use your energy. Um, and there's a reason why I do it. It's not just because I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And, when I feel like when my nervous system is healed and I haven't got so much going on in my life, then there will be room for such things. But yeah, I'm cool with talking about it today because we're doing it, yeah, for the podcast and
Yeah, with intention.
yeah, with intention, of course.
Good, good intention. Because I think the news has intention as well, but not
Well,
exact.
everything
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is a huge part of, um, like I'll say awakening for me, but really just becoming aware of the way things work.
Mm,
And because don't have, I don't walk around in my life and I don't think many people do, with an agenda. Like I don't kind of like think, oh, I'm doing this for money or I'm doing this, not in an intentional way that's like, I want to scare somebody or I want to get money from that person, things like that. So for me to become aware of how there is intention behind, you know, causing fear in people's lives and stuff like that, that was like really mind boggling to me.
yeah.
And knowing that and figuring that out caused me to have to live my life with intention. Because if I don't have intention in what I do, then I realize that I'll be falling into these, you know, I don't, they are kind of traps
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
other people's intentions. And
I
so
think
that's why I choose not to watch it.
I really, yeah, I think the world can be very confusing,
Mm,
and something that I've noticed actually, um, I've spent it's been very easy to disconnect from society with traveling the way that I have. Like, I've been with friends, I've been on mountains, I've been in retreat centers in Bali and stuff. Like, I've really been away from all that. And then in the past month, I've gotten a job just very briefly, um, and settled down in a city for the month here in the UK. And I feel like I've been just tipped upside down.
mm,
Like, I've felt really unstable. I felt distant from intention or from wanting to be intentional. Like, I'm just like dragging myself through my days at the moment, especially because I got a job for something so temporary. I never put real heart into applying for this job. It was just like, get me the quickest, easiest job I can do. And um, it really makes a difference. And it
mhm.
really like puts a negative, I don't want to say negative, like I don't want to put that story, but honestly, that's been my experience. It's like been really, really, really challenging, and I've been really drained every day, and I absolutely do not like it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
So do you think, can I ask you a question about that then?
mm,
Do you think that it's like a coping mechanism, like a survival tool that you've created where you, to be able to do that, to just be able to go to work every day, you've kind of had to disconnect from yourself
yeah, I
and
definitely
just
think
be in
it's a
robot
survival
mode?
robot mode, and it's
Yeah.
horrible. So I'm really looking forward to like we're about to go to Turkey soon. So me and mum are going to meet up in Turkey for about 10 days, and I'm really looking forward to this holiday. I'm going to France, well, like Paris for a day. And then I'm going to Bulgaria, I'm going to go to Greece, and then we're going to go to Turkey. And then I've already got a new life kind of set up in Scotland when I come back. And when I come back in to Scotland, I'm like really settling down for 6 months. So I'm going to make a really good life for myself. I'm going to get into yoga teaching. If I do work, it's going to be like at a local cafe that I enjoy, um, and like doing things that creating a new story with my life instead of work being this horrible thing that kills me inside to something that fulfills me. So
Mm.
yeah, I think it's kind of
And
this
so
has been
it's
oh yeah.
Juliet, then does it, I mean, look from the outside looking in, this life that you kind of had to, it's kind of like a choice that you made out of necessity rather than passion to work
This
and
month to
yeah,
work.
this month. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been out of necessity. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that in a way the the kind of like the creeping in of the fear of what's going on in the world at the moment has happened because of the disconnection that you've
Mm,
experienced? Is it like it's
yeah.
gone hand in hand together?
Yeah, well, for those who are watching, I put a post in the group recently talking about how I've been feeling like the world is getting crazy. And
Mm.
I think it's a mixture of things because I do actually believe that the world is getting crazy. And there's like
Yeah.
this, I think it already was crazy, but I think there's a shift or something that that's
A
happened,
ramping up.
a ramping up. Yeah. But I also feel like, of course, my attention is going to go to it when I'm surrounded. around, like, I'm living with people who watch the news. I'm on my phone more because it's my addiction.
Escape.
You know, people are
Yeah.
addicted to drugs. I'm addicted to my phone. I think a lot of people, well, some people are addicted to drugs and their phone. So at least I have the phone. But I am addicted to my phone, which is another realization. Um, and yeah,
Do you use it as an escape tool?
yeah, I'm trying to lean more into books. So I'm kind of on that balance at the moment. Um, and getting into books more. As a distraction, like if I am going to distract myself with something, I would rather distract myself with a book than with my phone. But yeah, when I go on my phone, it just takes me out of
Mhm.
my life completely, and it's just a complete escape. But the things that I'm escaping to are other people's crappy drama, like it's on TikTok or YouTube, or the dopamine addiction, like an imbalance is like,
Mhm.
I view myself, I'm like, I'm literally living my life. I've been doom scrolling for 2 hours, and what have I experienced? Just other people's drama that's made me feel physically sick. Like I feel physically sick. But yeah, I have been watching the news more, that's been popping up on my phone and
Before you
stuff.
go on,
Yeah.
can I I need to comment on the drama addiction,
Yeah.
like that you've been indulging in other people's drama,
Yeah.
because I have been too. It's a
Mm,
guilty pleasure of mine.
yeah. Like those
Where
reality TV shows, like they're so bad, but they're just so good sometimes. They just
yeah,
scratch that itch that you've been
yeah,
really craving.
and this is why I want to talk about it, because one, I am watching something. We're going to Turkey, like you said, and a friend of mine at my job, she recommended this Turkish drama to me. It's like a soap opera.
Oh my God, is that what you sent? Is that what that
Yeah,
clip is from?
that's from the clip. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I just want to
Yeah.
mention it
I'm
because
so confused that that was the example that you showed of. Mum sent me a clip of this place that we're going to go, and it's from a scene in a show. And I was like, this
mm,
is such a weird way that you're showing me this place.
yeah, well, the reason why I sent it to you is because the character in the scene talks about the history of
Yeah,
place,
yeah.
and the way he describes it in the scene is like so interesting, and it's all the stuff that you've, because you're really interested in this historical site that we're going to see, and the way he described it reminded me of you,
Mm,
because he talks about the history and how it's older than the pyramids and all of this. So it was like, oh, Juliet would love this scene. So that's why I recorded it and sent it to you.
yeah.
But yes, it is from this drama that I'm watching. And it's been such a wonderful self reflection watching this show, because, like you just said, I'm watching it and I'm going, oh my goodness, I'm so addicted to drama,
Yeah,
because I am watching this show like a hungry beast.
yeah.
It's like fulfilling every redemption fantasy I've ever had in my life about romance. It's a huge social commentary on the masculine and feminine, and it talks about, like, and it gets me right into the Turkish culture, which is the reason why I really wanted to watch it.
It's actually a really
Um,
good way to experience the culture of a place is watching their drama TV.
yes, yes, it so is.
That's good.
And now I'm watching it, I'm completely, and I have no self control
You're
over
addicted.
watching this thing. No self control. I'm in love with being addicted to it.
Yeah. Well, that's
I'm
good though.
completely
I think,
surrendered
yeah,
to it, to the
that's good.
whole, yes,
'Cause I
completely
don't like
surrendered
being
to the
addicted to
experience of
my
it.
phone. It's not a welcome, it's not welcome, but it's here. So,
Yeah, like to the point where, right, this is how addicted I am to it, that
oh, I keep,
there are,
oh God, sorry.
what?
The whole thing keeps blurring over me.
Yeah, every time you put the bottle up in the
Yeah,
camera,
sorry, I'm
that's, yeah,
thirsty.
that's
I
okay.
won't drink water ever again.
But anyway, so this is how addicted I am to the show, is that I'll be at work and I'll be thinking about the characters and the story and going, oh my goodness, I can't wait to get home to see what happens next. And I
I think
race
it's a
in.
good show.
Oh, it's so good, Juliet. It's so
Maybe I
good.
gotta start watching this.
It's so good. No, you don't, because if you're addicted to your phone, you'll be on the phone watching
But at
it.
least I'll be watching that and not TikTok.
Yeah, that's the thing. But it's a really involved story, so you got to follow along.
Okay.
And I race in the door. I swear to God, I race in the door after work and I'm straight into the show.
What's
And
it
I'm
called?
just like, um, so in Turkey, they pronounce the letter C as a J sound, like a J.
Right.
So it's spelled Hercai, but it's pronounced Herjai.
Ajay. Okay.
Yeah. And it's about two rich families, and I love it because you see the way they live their lives. You see the way that they live within their, they call it in the show a mansion, and
Hmm.
it's got a courtyard. It's completely and utterly, it's walled off. It's got a door at the front, so you can't come in unless you're invited in, basically. But then behind the front door and the front wall of this place where they live is like all their rooms. They all live together. All the generations live together in the mansion. And the girls really aren't allowed to go out unless they're chaperoned,
Okay, yeah.
and things like that. Like the way they live their life is so totally foreign to me.
Mm.
And so yeah, it's beautiful scenery. The characters are amazing. The storyline is completely and utterly like addicting because of the drama in it. And I'm talking tears every episode.
Oh, wow.
There's people trying to kill other people. There's like,
Oh,
it's like
geez.
Romeo and, yeah, it's Romeo and Juliet. It's like these two families who are warring with each other. And there's romance, there's history, there's everything in it. So that's why I'm addicted to it, because it covers all the bases. And also, it's making me so excited to go to Turkey. It's really making me excited about it, and to try the food and to try speaking the language as well.
Mm. Got a
Yeah.
translator. That's good.
I don't know about that, but I'll definitely be giving a few words a go when we're there.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for Turkey actually. But I guess should we segue into the
Yes.
into the actual
Sorry,
topic of
I went off on a tangent. I didn't mean to
no,
do that.
no. Don't ever apologize for a tangent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess there's a lot going on at the moment
Mm,
in the world. I mean, look, there's always a lot going on. So that's a bit silly to say because there's always so much. But I feel like there's a lot of conflict.
mm.
Um,
What is it
I
about
mean,
what's going on that bothers you the most?
I just feel I've never felt like a doom sense before, but I felt a bit of a doom sense. And I don't believe the doom, but I think it must be pretty strong for someone like me with my mindset and
Mm,
my knowledge and my knowing and positivity on, like, I truly believe that humanity is going to come through and realize, fix our problems, realize, it's going to take time. I don't think it's going to happen, all in one day, but I think that we're headed to a better place.
Mm-hmm.
But I still felt this like sense of doom when learning about um especially when the all the missiles, learning about all the missiles. Well, I think it kind of actually, I've been a bit messy. I'll start from it kind of started when I found out about the American CIA base in Australia
Oh, yeah.
that we talked about. I think it was only a few episodes ago,
Yeah, it
um,
was with Anne Marie.
with Anne Marie, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, there are missile codes that have been sent to Gaza that link to this CIA base in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just kind of hit home a bit to me because, this thing felt so far away. And then I realized, oh my God, there's American spy base on Australian soil that is technically not even seen as Australian land. Like I think
You're
legally,
speaking about Pine Gap.
Pine Gap, yeah, sorry, yeah. Um, and then also it's contributing to destruction and horrible actions against humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it feels like it's ramping up because of um the counter I don't want to say counterattack because I don't know if that's the right, but then missiles were also put on Israel, on cities in Israel. And there was this moment where the all the phone videos that were like getting posted were like the counter missiles hitting the missiles in the air to like intercept them. I'm like, oh my God, this is like intercepting missiles. This is like crazy, like what I read in books type of thing. Like, this is the first time that we're living in an age where, you know, this is so widespread. You go on TikTok and you're watching this kind of crazy stuff. And then there's also the hurricane. There was Hurricane Helen in Florida, and then now there was just Hurricane Milton. And Milton was like, okay, well, this is a bit of a weird one because Hurricane Milton was like, I everyone was so hyping it up, like saying it's Category 5. This is huge. I remember there was a clip going around where it was literally um the news saying like, if you're in any of these red evacuation zones, leave or you'll die. Like very, very dramatic.
Way you say it. Sorry
Yeah,
for
but that's
laughing, but
literally how they put
I'm
it on the
laughing at your
news.
reaction, not the,
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah.
know. But it was just a lot, and I just feel like I grew up loving end of the world movies, as morbid as that sounds. Like I
Such
love
as,
like Day After Tomorrow, 2012, Greenland, or was it? I think it was Greenland. There's all these ones that are like all about natural disasters or like Yellowstone blowing up and what would happen. And like, I don't know why, because it's such a horrible topic, but I loved those movies so much. And the one with like Morgan Freeman, maybe that was one I already mentioned. But yeah, there's all these ones where like a meteorite hits or there's a massive like flood or whatever. And yeah, this Hurricane Milton was the first time where I felt like, oh my God, this is like movie level storm, like right now.
mm,
Because that's what the news was saying. That is what was being portrayed. I'm not saying that it, I believed that the world was going to end or anything. Absolutely not. There was just this sense of like doom along with everything else. And um, yeah, it's just like insanely crazy. And I just had this feeling like they are trying to, and by they, I mean the news, they,
The
like
system, yeah,
the system um is really trying to put out this message of doom right now.
yeah.
So I
That's
kind of
nothing
understand
new though,
that.
Juliet. That's nothing
No,
new.
yeah, but like it's definitely stronger.
Hmm.
I think it's
It
definitely
kind of
stronger.
reminds me, what you're talking about reminds me of when I was in just like year 7 or 8 in high school, and maybe even year 9. And Ronald Reagan prime was president of America at the time, and there was a Cold War going on between America and Russia. And Russia like, it was a really scary, scary time
Mm,
in history for the Western history, because nuclear bombs were talked about every day on the news. And I I was listening to the news reports, and Ronald Reagan made like this incredible speech, and it's really famous. You can find it on YouTube and places like that now, actually. And I was convinced back then, when I was a teenager, that there was going to be a nuclear war. I was convinced of it.
mm,
And it affected my sleep, and I started having nightmares of mushroom
really?
clouds. Yes, it really, really, really affected me. My grades started to suffer because I couldn't concentrate at school. And um, one night, and I remember it peaking one night, um, in my room, and I'll explain to you why this was like so scary, because we lived on a main road in my family home, and my room was at the front of the house, my bedroom. So I could hear the traffic from my bedroom, and we lived across the road from like a major hospital in our area. It wasn't like on the opposite side of the road. You had to turn into a street that was opposite our house. And when you went down that street, that road was the hospital. And at night time, there would be ambulances every now and then coming to the hospital with their lights on.
Mm,
And they wouldn't usually use their sirens, particularly at night, because, of course, it would wake up the whole neighborhood. But this one night, I was in the middle of a dream about what was going on. It was like a doomsday dream. And it just so happened at the same time that a ambulance was turning into that street. And so the lights, those blue and red lights, were flashing in my bedroom. And it lit up, like, we were so close to the road, it lit up my whole room,
mm.
with flashing blue and red lights. And so I was in the middle of this dream, and the lights woke me up, and I thought that it was the end of the world.
Jeez.
And I had such a panic attack in the middle, like, it was early hours of the morning. I thought that it was the end of the world because of this dream I was having. And then when I opened my eyes and it was real, because the lights were going, I thought that it was the end of the world. It was like, that split second when you wake up, you don't know if you're still asleep or awake.
Yeah.
And it made such an impression on me that I still remember it today, that dream and the lights. And so, but this is the thing, right? That was my teenage brain back then, but nothing happened. My life was affected by my imagination, but not by reality, because in reality, Australia was safe. And the lights that were in my bedroom were from an ambulance going to the hospital. It wasn't from the world ending. And so what that taught me was that my imagination was what was hurting me in that moment, not real life. And it affected me so deeply that I still remember it to today, that I had dreams, regularly. I'm talking these doomsday dreams regularly, like 3 or 4 of them in this span of time. And I lived in constant fear because everyone was talking about a nuclear war happening. Everybody.
I think that's what the main issue is with this, because the news presents this information in a way that stops people from wanting to help each other and those who are actually in need, and
Yeah.
instead convinces everyone that they're going to die too, or that they're in danger as well. And when people are in fight or flight, it's panic. I mean, think of lockdown. Like,
Mm.
everyone just panicked and no one could buy toilet paper, no one could buy anything they needed. And so
Yeah, it's
no one,
how the fantasy story, how that story comes into your psyche and affects your now moment.
mm,
That is, that's the fascinating thing,
yeah,
that it was so prevalent to me in my teenage years that even today, I'm 53, I can still remember it and talk about it now, but nothing was going on in my world except for the images on the screen and the people talking about it and the fear that I
yeah.
felt.
And so
That was what was real.
then everyone's just suffering and no one's actually creating towards a solution.
Yeah, because we're all afraid.
Yeah.
And when this is the thing, when your body is in fear, um, because we believe that there's a threat, and so our body responds to that. Okay, and it also helps to cement the memory into our subconscious as well. Our body, the way our body feels at the time of the fear. Um, then that's what makes it real to
Yeah.
us, and what causes the disease in our bodies when we're constantly feeling that fight or flight response in our bodies. That's what creates the health issues in our
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
And that's why stress is such a killer. And we,
Actually, sorry to interrupt you,
you're right.
but I was going to say this before. I've noticed in the UK, the news has much more of a grip on people.
Mm,
I think it still does in Australia, but I feel
mm,
like it's stronger here. And TV is still like a major thing. Everyone still has multiple TVs in their house. Whereas I, mm, I know maybe this is just me, but in Australia, like, a lot of people I know hardly even turn on their TV. And the only reason that they have a TV is to turn on like a streaming service so they can watch movies.
mhm.
Like, the TV isn't on a lot just playing TV channels. Usually it's only for getting Netflix on a bigger screen, basically.
Yeah.
But here, no, they really watch the news and they really watch TV still. Um, and
Actually, the TV is playing behind you.
yeah, that's the Mirror, but it's on Netflix, so caught you out. Um, but yeah, what I was going to say is I feel like this country is a lot more stressed. I think there's many, many, many details into that. I don't just contribute that to only the news, but I think it is a big part of it. And the cancer rates here, and the disease rates like is insane. It's 50% of people
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
for cancer rates in the UK. Well, that's what they say anyway. Like, how do we really know that? I don't know, but that's what they're putting out on the TV, which again, I believe enforces that belief. But 50%. When I heard that for the first time, I was like, no, I don't believe you. You're lying. You're completely
Mm,
lying. Because I
mm,
remember in Australia when I was younger, and not that much younger, like maybe still teenage, I remember hearing one in every three people will have an experience with cancer, like know someone or have cancer themselves. And there was one in every three. And that was a scary idea to me. And then here, half having it, not even
mm.
half experiencing that is like crazy. And
Yeah.
it's definitely to do with stress. And
Yeah. And I believe it's also um, to do with lack of connection, the
mm,
way we've adopted technology so readily into our lives.
mm,
And one of the side effects of that is people are lonely
yeah,
because the connection isn't through face to face as much anymore. It's through, you know, screens.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
screens have their place because,
here we
if
are.
this was, if this was my life when I was your age, I would be, you and I connect every week doing this podcast and I get to see your face. But when I was traveling when I was young, it was a phone call, and it was a
Mm,
phone call once a week if I was lucky.
mm,
And no, not seeing any faces. There wasn't, unless they sent me photos.
yeah,
So screens do have their place, but not in place of reality,
yeah,
not with really connecting with people.
yeah, definitely not.
And
I
it
mean,
takes an intention now. If you want to see somebody, it takes an intention to see them because we really, we're connecting through apps like Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever.
mm,
Um, and we feel like, oh, I connected with that person. I've caught up with that person now. Whereas previously, if you wanted to catch up with a friend, you would go out for a coffee and see them.
yeah, yeah,
And it's not the same connection. Like our bodies need that feeling of connection when you're in the presence of the people that you love.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I feel sometimes it makes me a bit sad to know how uncomfortable it is to go up and say hi to someone and make friends naturally. Also, actually, I just lost my phone. I left it at a cafe in Bristol, and I had to go from Bristol here to where I'm staying on the bus without my phone. And then in the morning, so I slept here, and then in the morning, I had to get my bus there. And there is nothing more humbling than trying to get around without your phone and just realizing how incompetent you are. Like, I was on that
How
bus.
competent you are.
I was on that bus, like, you know, I was very, very, very aware, very like, I better be on the lookout, see where I'm going, make sure I don't get off at the wrong
Because you
stop.
didn't have your safety net.
I didn't have my safety net. And
Mm.
then on the bus this morning, I you can kind of see it still on my hand a little bit, but I had to write the directions out. I had to look it up on my laptop and then write the directions out on my hand
Yeah,
and the
that's how
name
we
of the
used
bus
to do
stop.
it.
Yeah.
That's how we used to do it.
And
Yep.
I mean, I got there, I was fine, but geez, I was like, oh my God, this is so hard to do. Um, I would definitely, it felt very freeing. especially if I wasn't in a foreign city, I think it would be way better. Like if I was living in a town, I would love to get rid of the phone and just have my laptop. Um,
and just
obviously,
walk around.
yeah, just walk around. Um, maybe I would do that once I get a satellite phone, possibly. So then I can, if anything happens, I have the emergency um thing because it was awesome. And then I still have a way to connect as long as I'm connected to Wi-Fi. I can have directions, I can have everything, but I just don't have that. Like, I don't know. I see phones as just this necessary evil in our life, and I think there's so much escape from that when you don't have a phone. Like, oh, um, book book this on book this on your on our app, or get our app to make, to get your deals or whatever, to get our discount on whatever. It's like, sorry man, no, I don't have a phone, can't get an app, sorry. you know like, how good would
Sorry,
that have
man.
been? Yeah, how good would that have been in COVID when it was all that um online, like, QR codes? Like, sorry dude, don't have a phone,
Well,
QR
I know
code.
guys that I work with who have two phones purposefully. They have one that's got the
Like,
least amount of functions on it that's
yeah,
possible for a phone. And then they have their smartphone and they use the dumb phone, if you'd like to call it that, because it doesn't have apps on it. You can't, like, it's just like a regular phone with numbers and a tiny little screen.
yeah.
They use that for work. And so when there's like, you know, the work company says to them, you sign on with the app and sign off with the app, and you got to have this and you got to have that thing on your phone. I mean, for one of my jobs, I think there's 5 apps that are used for different things at work. And they have that phone specifically to show I can't have the app because this is my phone on
Yeah.
purpose. It's an
Yeah. So
intention.
good. Yeah.
And then they
So
have
good.
their own smartphone for their own personal use, and the never the twain will meet, because of the
Yeah.
expectation that is put on the employee to stay connected to the job
Mm.
24 hours a day.
Yeah. It's horrible. I will say it's getting a bit like intense, especially over here on this side of the world. Like in November, um, Europe is doing this thing with the eye scanning and the fingerprints as their visa. Like, you're a regular tourist. Okay, if you want to come into our country, we need an eye scan and your fingerprints as a normal tourist, like, visa.
Yeah. Why? The,
Why?
syst- the system's
Why?
been working up until now.
Why on
Why are they
earth?
changing it?
Why on earth? In what universe is that a
You know what it's
necessary thing?
for? Do you know
Well,
what it's for?
I mean, yeah,
It
but you say it. Yeah.
So they have a record of every single person's personal details, so that any kind of information that they want about you will correlate. So if you were to get a fine, or if you were to
Yeah.
jaywalk, if you were, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh
and
God.
and so on this side, this is the point. On this side of it, coming in and out of the country, they've got your information now. And then when you're living your daily life, that all they need to do is ramp up security in daily life. So start issuing jaywalking fines, start issuing, you know, all the little petty things that people can just do in their daily life. They ramp those up, and then what that does is it pings the system,
Yeah.
and then they've got you. Oh, she's living in Bristol. He's living in, Scotland, this person's living in London,
Yeah.
and then they can create a profile about who you are.
Honestly, I think if anyone ever got my fingerprints, I know this sounds so crazy, but I would have such a massive urge just to singe mine off. I know that sounds so crazy, but the idea of someone having my fingerprints really
It's
creeps
very,
it creeps me
it,
out.
yeah, it's very invasive.
The
It's
only
extremely
reason,
invasive. And this is the thing. People say, "Oh, but if you're not a criminal, you shouldn't worry about it. It's not going to affect you." And it's like, well, no, that's actually not true, because why should you give up that sort of personal information if you aren't a criminal?
yeah,
Don't you have a right to privacy?
yeah,
Every single person on the planet has a right to privacy until you've done something that takes that right away.
mm,
That's what being like, that was the always the difference between being a free citizen in your country and being able to walk around privately, like in your life, and people not, you know, getting every single piece of information about you, to being a criminal and going into the criminal system and then having your fingerprints taken. You're a criminal once you've had your fingerprints taken.
yes. I'm hoping there's some loophole, or I can maybe get my European passport so before I do my big trip, um, so then I don't have to do it. Because honestly, I do not want to give off my eye scan. Why do you need a scan of my eyeball? Like, honestly, it's just so scary.
Yeah.
And here, like, this is another thing with the digital age. Um, in the UK, like I was telling you, Mum, if I want to get my license converted, I have to ship off my all forms of my identity in order to get my license converted here in the UK, because they don't have any physical buildings or offices. It's all online. So, like in Australia, anything to do with a license, we have this place called Service New South Wales, and they have offices all over Sydney, all over New South Wales, and you go in and you sort out any issue that you have, fines, licensing problems, anything. And
Yeah.
you talk to an actual human being and you figure out your problem with them. Here, there's none of that. I have to literally skip off all forms of my identity and also my proof of my right to live here. So
Mm.
if I sent that off, I would be like living a risky life until I got that back, you know? So, anyways, it's something I have to do. So I'm gonna do it. But yeah, it's just not it's not a system for people. It's not a system that benefits me in any way. It benefits them. They don't want to have to pay people hourly rates for their business. You know, they want computers, and it's not
And
doesn't do
that's the
me any
thing.
good.
When a system is converted from people face to face, or even person on the phone, to completely online, what happens is it transfers all the power, of decision making, of all of the process, over to that person who owns the system, owns the computer programming or the website or whatever. Because there's no recourse. You can't
Mm.
have a conversation. It's not a two-way street. It's like that. It, it reminds me of a comedy show that originated in England. Actually, it's called Little Britain.
Oh
And
yeah.
in the comedy skit, one guy comes into the travel agent to book his overseas trip, and he's talking to her. She's sitting behind a desk, and every question he has for her, every one, she says, let's see. And she goes to her computer and she types something in. And then she looks at him and she says, the computer says no every
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
So it's like there's no conversation, there's no back and forward, there's no learning. You can't learn from the person facing you how to interact. There's nothing. It's all done on a computer. And so you have to then fit into the way they've decided to do it, because you've
yeah,
got no way of getting around that. There's no one to
yeah,
talk to.
yeah.
You're alone with a screen.
Yeah,
And the
it's
same
so
thing is
sucky.
happening. The same thing is happening. We're talking screens here. The same thing is happening in all over, like places like Japan and Korea and places like that. You walk into a restaurant and there's no person to seat you at your table.
There's
It's a
robots.
screen. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's robots. Yeah, the McDonald's now, even.
Yeah.
It's weird. I, you know what? Like, it's the first time where I genuinely feel like I can say back in my day, we had DVD stores, you know, and we would go,
You're
you know, like
21.
to the kids,
Because
because
things are changing
it's
so
such
rapidly.
a extreme change so quickly. Like, even I could even say, like, when I was watching YouTube, I was watching like Minecraft channels and like such simple YouTube was such a simple place before. Now it's like you really have to watch out with the content that you're, letting your kids watch. And um yeah, I never remember it being like that. It was just such a like simple escape as a kid, and it
Mm.
actually felt pretty good most of the time. Like it was a feel good space. But now YouTube is very, 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 very different. Yeah, like it's just so strange. At what kids have like TikTok is way worse. It's so toxic.
Mm.
It's so bad.
Yeah, that's why
Um,
I don't have TikTok on my phone.
yeah, like I would be watching like DIY videos, conspiracy videos, gaming videos, and they all taught me something, and
Yeah.
I genuinely received a learning experience, whether it was about the game I was playing or about how to make this project or learning about a new fun conspiracy that I love to watch because I loved conspiracy videos when I was young.
I know.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just
That's where
very,
this all began.
yeah, that's where this all began. Yeah. Shane Dawson. He was my, if anyone knows, he was my go-to. Um, yeah, so anyway, it's just like crazy how much has changed even in the past um 10 years. Like it's really weird.
Not
And I do
even
miss
past
DVD
4 years.
stores. Yeah. I'm actually, you know what? I have a whole plan when I have my own apartment or house, well, hopefully house. Um, and like this is when I'm actually going to settle down, right? I'm not going to buy Netflix. I'm not going to buy any of that crap. I'm going to go on Facebook Marketplace and just buy as many DVDs as I can and just buy a DVD player and like an old crappy 90s 2000s TV and just watch movies and shows from DVDs, and that's how I'll just watch everything because that was the best childhood.
Yeah.
That was the best. Going to the DVD store. Luckily, if I'm lucky, we're getting Ben and Jerry's from the freezer, sorry,
Yeah.
and getting some lollies and some microwave popcorn. and until we bought our popcorn machine, because I also do remember that.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one? The one that
Yeah.
made popcorn?
Yeah. It was so cool.
It's those are the days. Oh, yeah,
Juliet, you sound like a 80-year-old woman
I do. But
in your
it's just
rocking
like
chair.
it was so wholesome. I feel like things aren't wholesome with this kind of stuff much anymore.
Yeah, but that's why this conversation is so beautiful,
Yeah.
because I feel like my life is wholesome. And I was
Mm.
talking to a girl at work, and we were talking
Just
about
grabbing the
this.
charger, keep talking.
Yeah, this exact subject was what we were talking about. And she was like, we were talking about choices and the choices that she made that have led her to where she is in her life now. And the whole conversation was sparked because my son said to me one day, and I'm so like, it's one of the hugest compliments I think I've ever had in my life. He said to me, "Mum, you're so wholesome." And it surprised me because I don't see myself as wholesome. I don't see that as myself.
That's
Myself.
so nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And since then, like, I was just telling this friend of mine at work that that's what my son said, which sparked off this whole conversation. And what that brought into my consciousness, like what I started to realize, is that it's a choice really to be like, to live like that. So even though the world is, moving in these directions, and it's presenting us with these system changes and all of that, you can choose not to engage with that stuff.
Mm, yeah.
Okay, yeah, to a certain extent, it's going to push you. But it's like this guy at work who has the phone, the crappy phone. It's a
Yeah.
choice. There's ways that you can
Yeah.
choose to live your life.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
we know, like, and that's where we began with this conversation. So it's come around beautifully. We know that we can, like, that stuff's out there. We know that. Um, but I got into a position where I had to say, right, now I'm going to choose, because this stuff's being pushed on me and I don't really want to live my life like that. So I'm going to choose for myself. I'm going to start choosing to live like how I want to show up and how I want to interact with things. And that's why I don't watch the news, because it's not healthy for me.
Mm.
Some people can watch it and they'll be fine. That's not the case for me.
No, not
Um,
me either. I'm figuring that one out.
yes. So
Yeah.
that's why I don't, that, Juliet, why do you think we don't have, like, we don't have television here?
Yeah, well, it's always, I think, even before, you know, COVID and everything, you never wanted me watching the news ever. I remember
No,
Dad had it on in the morning. Why are you watching the news?
turn it off.
Turn it off.
I mean,
Turn it
I
off.
remember Dad taking you. I remember this. There was a massive, massive
I know what
accident
you're gonna
around the
say.
corner. There's a massive. Do you remember this though? Don't you?
Yeah. Well, I don't really
He
remember
took
what
you in the
happened.
car from the house. You two got in the car from the house
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
go and look at this accident. And when you guys got home, I was like, "Where did you go?" And he's like, "Oh, there's an accident around the corner. We went to see if everything was okay." And I went, "You would rubbernecking." Because really, at the end of the day, what can you do? You were looking to see if everyone was okay.
Yeah, we wanted
No.
the inside scoop.
Yes. Because
Yeah.
did you help? Did you, what did you
No,
do when you got there?
we literally just drove past and came back
You
around.
rubbernecked. That's what's called rubbernecking, Juliet.
Oh, I didn't.
That's what it's called.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
I
he
don't.
took you. He took you in the car. I would never do something like that.
I must have been like 13.
You were 12.
Wow.
You were 12. You
It's
were
a sucker
in
for
year
drama.
7. Yeah. Oh no, you were in year 8. Yeah.
Well, we've hit an hour, Mum.
Oh, have we?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a bit excited there
Okay.
because it's unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm feeling another thing, I'm feeling another special Ancient Mysteries episode coming up again, and maybe doing an overview of kind of, because I would love to introduce the series back now that we've got all these new followers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to do an overview of everything that we've encompassed in the previous things before heading into new subjects, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Let's
maybe we
do it.
could do another, yeah, another just the two of us episode soon, encompassing everything for that, for the
Yeah.
people to look forward to.
Let's do it. Because I mean, part of the reason we're going to Turkey is to see Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah, go Beckley Tepe. Yeah,
Yeah. So, and that is the ancient
site we
um,
mentioned. Yeah,
site we're going to. Yeah. And
that
that was
is,
one of our ancient mysteries episodes.
yeah. Maybe we could film. Well, I want to film a video anyway, but maybe we could film a podcast kind of episode and just
Mm,
record it and then upload it.
yeah. Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Okay, I'm really tired. I don't know. It's
Yeah, I
just
know.
hit.
I've noticed you rubbing
Sorry.
your eyes and trying to hide it,
But
but you couldn't hide it, Juliet.
I can't hide it. I'm so bad. Even at my job, I'm like waitressing, and people are so stupid. I'm so sorry, but when people are stupid, I have a face, and I don't mean to,
I know.
but
I
I
know.
genuinely can't help it. Like one time,
I
ugh,
know.
I feel
It's
so
too
bad. I
true.
can never hide my emotions. But this one table, they talked about, so they ordered all these coffees, and the old grandma, she ordered an Americano. No one asked for milk. She didn't ask for milk with it. She just said Americano. So
Americano doesn't come with milk.
yeah, it doesn't. I know, right? So I give her the Americano, and then they're like, "Oh, Nan, do you want milk with it?" Like as if like, "Oh, do you want milk with it?" Like, why is there no milk? Why don't you have milk? Like as if it's my fucking, oh, sorry, as if it's my fault. And
She ordered an
she
Americano.
ordered an Americano. You can order milk on the side, but she didn't. And so then they all, like, after having this discussion with her, right? They all look at me and say, actually, can we get milk with it on the side? As if I wasn't just here for the conversation, them being like, oh, you don't have milk with it. And I probably was so passive, but I went, yes, you can. And she went, oh, sorry. And I was like, oh, it's okay. So I was probably so
So you
passive
didn't
aggressive.
realize that that's how you were coming across.
No, it's not on purpose. Like I'm probably so rude to customers, but it's only when they're dumb. So it's only when they deserve it. And I genuinely don't mean to, because I've had so many people
What
order.
is it about this? What is it about? We have to do a show just on this subject because I'm really interested to know why this particular thing bothers you so much because it comes up all the time.
What, my face, not being able to hide it,
No,
customers being
no,
stupid.
yes.
Because I'm the one who has
Because
to,
I
I'm the
I
one.
work
No,
I work in a similar like I work with the public in my job. And there there are times when there is some stuff that comes out of their mouth.
yeah,
Okay? And I'm stunned. And I'm 53.
yeah. But you have
And
53 years of experience of calm. and being chill about
No,
it.
no, I have all the experience because, I've worked with the public this whole time. I've always worked with the public. That's been my choice. And I'm still shocked to this day. That's what I'm trying to say to you. But it doesn't affect me the same way as it affects you.
Yeah, because I don't know if this is I can't stand it
I
when
know. That's what I'm
someone
saying. You
is
can't
no,
stand it.
I let me finish. I can't stand it when someone's being an idiot and they're so dumb that they look at me like I'm the dumb one. Like they're being so dumb that they don't realize they're the dumb ones. And so they genuinely believe that I'm dumb because I'm not understanding what they're like, what they're trying to do. Or like, okay, this is one example. I gave people ordered um a fish dish and it was like place. The fish was place, which is like a flat fish or
Yeah,
something.
yes, very flat.
I gave the dish down and the guy looks at it. He's like, "Oh wow, that's quite big." And then looks to me, "Why is the fish so big?" I'm like, are you okay, sir?" And I literally went, I my own
That's how
instinct,
big the fish is.
I was like, "Do you?" And I remember like, "Do you want me to ask? Do you want me to
Answer.
go ask the kitchen? Because like, are you sure you want me to go? Because I don't have an answer for you, sir. Like, I don't know how to respond to this question. And since it's the food, the chef was the one who
You know what
prepared
I
it.
would have said to that guy?
What?
You obviously don't watch the Nature Channel because that's actually the size of the fish. That's how they grow.
Because that's how it grew, mate. Like,
Yeah.
and then he was like, "Yes, please, can you go to the kitchen?" And I was like, "Oh my God." So then I went up to the chef and I'm like, "I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry to be asking this question, actually. Um, but the gentleman over there that I just gave the place to, he's wanting to know why the fish is so big." And the chef looked at me, was like, "It's a big fish." And I went, "Thank you, sir.
Exactly.
Thank
It's
you."
a big fish.
And so I just went back with that information. And, some people would be like, "Why would you go to the kitchen to even ask that?" It's
Yeah.
like,
That
that's what they want. That's what that's what this idiot wants me to do. And I knew it. Because what am I gonna say as a person also never heard of place before? So I didn't know it was like I didn't know why he was asking me this because I'm like, maybe is it supposed to be a small fish or something? I didn't
Oh,
know.
right. I get what you're
So
saying.
I was like, I'll just go ask
So
because
he was,
I'm
so you were thinking that he was thinking it was like
a
affected
fake,
by nuclear waste or something.
yeah, or just we were scamming people saying it was place when it wasn't.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I just hate that it's put onto me. Their stupidity, I now am the custodian of their stupidity and have to figure out what to do with it to give them a good service. I hate having that as a job, and being a waitress is your job. And that's why I can't stand it. So, anyway,
All right. Well, I would like us to do a whole episode on this.
I could tell you so many stories.
Yeah. It's not just about talking about the stories, though. I think we need to talk about the progression of this happening in
Hatred
the
towards
world
people.
because I think there's a reason why. I think there's because you're not okay, for example, you're not the only person who says this to me about
People are so dumb.
common sense that
Yeah,
people don't have common sense anymore.
yeah.
And I think I have a theory on why I think this, but I think you and I need to talk about it because you experience it in a different way to the way I do because you're younger than me. So I think we need to do an episode on it.
Okay. Okay, we'll add it to the list then.
Exactly. Yeah.
All
Down the
righty.
track sometime we will do it, everyone. We're going to do,
Yes.
stay tuned for that.
Well, thank you
Yeah,
everyone for
and
watching.
Juliet, it'll be funny because she'll get animated.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, I don't like being a waitress. I don't like it,
Mm.
but it's fine.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
only for 3 more days, and then I'm off
And
to
then you're
Paris.
out of there. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank
Okay.
God. Thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, coming up, where our show is going to continue, but we're going to be probably posting up recordings rather than doing lives, because from here on out, Juliet's not going to be connected to great internet because she's traveling.
Yeah.
So we've got things sorted so that the time that she's away, we've got things covered. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Awesome.
All right,
Okay.
everyone. Mwah.
Bye. Mwah.
See ya.